Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Anicia aka Diamond, and today I am going to talk about how I remained positive after a tragedy. Okay, so before we continue, let me just welcome my fellow subscribers. Thank you for coming again, and to those of you who have not yet subscribed, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because if you do so, you are gonna love me. Okay, before any further ado, let me just tell you how this is gonna work today. Okay, so first of all, I am going to explain to you how I felt during the time the tragedy happened. And this tragedy is when my dad got murdered last year, November 22nd. That's in 2019. Okay, so this year, November 22nd, just gave a year since my dad was murdered. Okay, alright. So I also have notes here. I will also be referring to my notes every now and then so that I could give you every detail that I have put together. Okay, so first thing is that the morning when I woke up, the morning that my dad was murdered, because it happened, I believe according to the police, it happened early during the wee hours of the morning on a Saturday morning. That was Saturday 22nd November 2019. For some reason during the night I had the most awful dream. I actually dreamt that my cousin, I won't mention her name, but my dear cousin who lives in Martinique, I dreamt of her that night, that she was driving a car and the car got stuck in a mud puddle, and she was really revving to try to get out of the mud puddle, but to the best of her efforts she never got out. Okay, so this is where the dream stopped and I woke up. But lo and behold, I had no idea this was the news I would have gotten that morning. So when I got up from the dream, I was in a very cranky mood, very bad mood, negative mood and all. I had no idea why I was feeling so horrible. No idea. I could not put my finger on it. I went to the living room. I just laid on the sofa. And just an important information for you, so you know, I was actually pregnant with my daughter when that happened. So all of that is happening while I am 5 months pregnant with my daughter. Okay, that, as I was saying, let me go back in story. So I woke up, I laid on the sofa. As I said, I was in a very negative mood, very cranky. I had no idea why I was feeling that way. I could not put my finger on it. So after laying there about an hour, because I refused to get up to go even prepare breakfast that morning, so my other half, my honey bunny, decided to go make breakfast in the kitchen. So while he was in the kitchen making breakfast, while I was laying down on the sofa, I got a call from my sister. Okay, my sister called and she told me that she's just in the area. Please note that I was no longer living with my father. So I had moved out from since I had my son. I was pregnant with my son before and I had moved out. But I would constantly go there all the time. My father would always see me. I would visit all the time. I still had my stuff. Everything was still in my bedroom the same way. So I got the news from my sister, well, through a call, that she's in the area where my father resides, and she was told that my father was murdered. I immediately I was so shocked. I was just dropped the phone, and the phone fell on the ground, and I started to scream. My partner just left the kitchen and he ran to the living room to see why. Asked me, what's wrong, what's wrong? And I'm shaking and I'm screaming and I can't even say what is wrong. He kept asking me, what is wrong, what is wrong, what's the matter? So I got the strength to say, my father is dead, he was killed. So immediately he picked up the phone on the floor and he tried calling back my sister to find out what exactly happened. And believe me, that's not the best news that someone should be getting when they are 5 months pregnant. I was already suffering from gestational high blood pressure, so I was quite at risk. I was actually on bed rest. Yeah, so it was not something that I was expecting. I was shaken, I was scared, I was shaking. You can't imagine how it must have felt. I'm pretty sure I can't even explain really how that day, how horrible that day was for me. But guys, I have decided to share this video with you guys because it took me a year to actually come to the realization that it really happened. We managed to remain positive throughout the tragedy. Days after my father was buried, I did ended up at the hospital because I was having some complications. So I ended up in the hospital for about two days, and I did go back again after, I think it was about within a few weeks. I did go back again because I still was having some complications. But before I go there, I'm going to also explain to you guys how I from day one, how I was able to cope. Okay, hopefully that can help someone out there. Okay, so you know, if you are close to someone and that person dies, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel all different kinds of emotions that you can ever imagine. So just understand that it was not easy for me. Okay, so I have 3 points here on how I managed to stay positive throughout this ordeal. Okay, my point number 1 would be, I listened to meditation music, soft music on YouTube in order for me to sleep. So I played the music for 8 hours throughout the entire night until morning. When I woke up one morning, I would turn it off, just for me to be able to close my eyes and actually fall asleep. Now, I only started doing it the following night because the first night I honestly did not sleep, and I could not figure out how I could possibly make myself fall asleep. I was scared, I was sad, I was angry. There were so many different emotions going through my body. And plus I was also worried, and I also had to be careful with my emotions and don't let it run too wild, as best as I can to detach from the emotion, because again, as I mentioned, I was 5 months pregnant. So there's no way I would have allowed myself to too much into the negative emotions to possibly harm my unborn child. Some people may have said that this young lady is very strong, this young lady doesn't cry. I cried in secret. I cried when I'm home, I cried when I'm around my partner. He was able to comfort me. But when I did go out there, I would put on a brave face, I would put on a strong face, because I am actually the first child of my dad. My dad had 3 of us, and I'm the firstborn. So I actually had to put on a brave face and be strong, try to, you know, be strong. But believe me, no one understood exactly how I felt. Some people may even say that, how is she coping? How is she able to remain so calm? But believe me, I looked calm, but I was not calm. I was not able to select my dad's funeral package at the funeral parlor. I was not strong enough. I actually ran out of the room crying and ran all the way out of the funeral parlor. I went to the balcony and I just could not go back in. My aunt was there and my other cousin was there. Had to take the lead into, you know, going in and selecting my dad's casket and selecting the, you know, the package for the funeral. I was not able to do that. In spite of me trying to put on that brave face for everyone to think I am actually good, I was not good at all. Sleeping, that was a task for me, at least for the very first night it happened. Okay, so I must say meditation music actually helped me a great lot. I played it for the full 8 hours of sleep, so that really helped me to stay afloat. The next thing that actually helped me to stay positive during the tragedy was I avoided viewing my father's body at all costs. So this is one of the things I did. Never went to the funeral home to view the body. I stayed away from that. Again, if I wasn't pregnant, I would have done it. I would have faced it. But the fact that I know I'm pregnant, I had to try to avoid anything that would create any more emotions or even worse emotions in me that could possibly harm the unborn child. And bearing in mind that I also was suffering from gestational high blood pressure, so I had to be very careful. When I did speak to my doctor, she did tell me I have to be very, very careful. Okay, so I purposely did not view my father's body at no point in time. I didn't view when the morning that he was murdered. I actually waited when they left for me to go. Yes, I cried all my cry at home, and I waited until they left with the body before I actually go to the house. And even when I went to the house, because of the nature of the crime, it was gruesome, it was bloody, I never went up to the house upstairs to visit or to watch the crime scene or anything like that. Besides, there were police all over the place, tape all over the place, so they were not actually allowing people to go in. Not until after a few days when they allowed family members to go there. Okay, I don't want to actually go into, that's actually my third point. This is my third point, where I avoided the area where my father was murdered until that place was cleaned. So I never saw the body. Even at the funeral, I did not view my dad's body. So I created that little world for myself that maybe it did not happen. Like, that was my coping mechanism. I knew it was my dad's funeral because we did arrangements, and I was at the funeral. But then I created that little bubble for myself that this is most likely not my dad in the coffin, because I never actually saw him. Okay, so it was a bit hard afterwards that I never got to watch him for the last time. After I gave birth to my daughter, it was a bit hard thinking about it, that I never got to say goodbye, or I never got to see him the last time. Yeah, but I did it because I had to protect my unborn baby, right? So these are the 3 reasons. Let me just recap. Yeah, the 3 ways I was able to stay positive during a tragedy like this. Okay, the first one I mentioned was I listened to meditation music, sleep music on YouTube the entire night, the entire 8 hours of sleep until next morning. The second point was I avoided viewing my father's body at all costs. And the third one was I avoided visiting the crime scene before it was actually cleaned, or the area before it was actually cleaned. And again, I mentioned I did that just so I could protect my unborn child, because had I not been pregnant, I would have done it a whole different way. But I had to do this. Yeah, and this is how I managed to stay afloat. This is how I managed to stay positive even through a tragedy. I was, trust me, up to this day, there's not one day that I don't think about my father. There's not one day I don't remember him. I don't remember his voice, because actually the day before he was murdered. He was murdered on a Saturday morning. According to the police, as I said, it happened, most likely happened in the wee hours of the morning. So I actually spoke to my dad the day before. I called him and I spoke to him. We were actually speaking about the baby, and he was quite excited. His voice, I could tell in his voice, he was very excited and could not wait for baby to arrive. But little did I know that was the last time I spoke to my father. And I must thank persons who, some of my close friends who was there for me during that ordeal. And special thanks to my partner. And I must say, he really was there for me. I don't think I could have pulled through or could have made it safely out of that without his assistance. He was really there for me. Guys, it was rough. It was very hard for me. And I never want to imagine or expect or want someone, not even the worst of worst. I don't want anyone to have to ever go through that, experiencing that tragedy, especially happening to one of your parents, or even your close sibling, your siblings, your close relative, or your child. You know, I don't wish that on anyone. So this is my take on that, and hopefully someone could learn from the 3 ways I cope with the tragedy. I hope that it can help someone out there who is facing that situation. Okay, if you have to detach yourself from the situation, go right ahead and do it, because different persons cope differently. Okay, some persons may do it a different way, but this was my way. Yeah, and I must say it really helped me. Okay, but guys, thank you again for watching. Thank you for continuously supporting my channel, and look out for more positive videos, different ways to remain positive in different situations. So I'll be posting a lot of videos like that for you guys. Okay, so thank you again for watching, and we will definitely see each other again later this week. So guys, have a wonderful and productive week. Thank you again for watching.